Should men be paying for dates?
Short answer, yes. Matchmaking is about network and timing. There's nothing like better out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
People are people and everybody has their issues.
It's mostly women talking about how men have unhealed trauma. We can diagnose men with everything.
Once you say something negative about your potential partner, that's it. They're dead.
Welcome back to another episode of the Black and Jewish podcast. I have a special guest today. Her name is Shana Tibi. She is a matchmaker, and we're talking all things dating and love today. Hi, Shana. Thank you for being with me today.
Hi, Ashira. I am really excited. Thank you.
I'm so excited. I want to just dive right in, but I want to clarify. I know you're a Jewish matchmaker, but are you also a matchmaker for non-Jews?
I absolutely am. I mean, a lot of Jewish people worldwide turn to me. However, I have a really big hub also in Florida where I also work with people of all faiths, no faith. Yeah, but overwhelmingly, I do have Jewish clients. However, I do have an amazing network of colleagues. So for whatever reason, if I'm not the right matchmaker, I'll refer to who is.
Okay, for the people who don't know, can you just break down what is matchmaking and what is Jewish matchmaking and just the background of, traditional matchmakers in the Jewish world, and how did that idea come from our Jewish tradition?
Amazing. Absolutely. So yes, traditionally in the Jewish culture, it's called a shadchan, which the shadchan system really revolves around finding the right partner, for the single. It usually happens a little bit at a younger age than maybe modern times now. I would say when somebody's, 18, 19, 20, 21, I would say the up to 25 is typically the time when the shadchan system kind of gets enacted. And
you're tapped out. You age out.
I mean, and you can also do that anyway, divorced, single, widowed. I mean, truthfully at any moment, but that seems to be the first time around. That's when shadchanim tend to get involved. Fun fact, the word shadchan in Hebrew really means stapler. So it's a way to put two people together.
What? So, I didn't know that.
Right.
So it means stapler. Wow. I love that.
The modern word, even in an office.
Yes.
Give me the shadchan. It's a stapler. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Exactly. Okay, so let's get to it. Why does it seemingly, or not seemingly, I think it really is, why is it so hard in modern day times for people to find a match? Do people have unrealistic expectations? Do we just want more than, our grandparents wanted? Why is it so hard just to meet someone and get married?
I mean, Ashira, that is the $1 million question right there. So, but yes, we can definitely get into that. So, all right, a few things. Number one, choice. Choice is everywhere. Who's next? Who's better? Who's cuter? Who's more this? Who, what's around the corner? That whole concept of what else might be out there has really taken over. I mean, as evidenced by dating apps. Listen, I'm not against dating apps. I'm just saying it's easy to see that that's what's happening on dating apps, especially big cities. It's that whole choice thing and who's next. Of course, choice is good. People want choice and free will, but there's an overwhelming amount of choice and people get what's called dating fatigue. So yeah, I mean, it's a thing. It's a real thing. So honestly, it's this whole concept of, well, I do like this guy. We're getting to know each other. Maybe there aren't immediate sparks. Should I keep going? Should I ditch him?
Right.
Who's next?
Yes.
And it's a problem.
Shana, in your work, have you seen that although people think they have tons of choices because the world is our oyster, that they really don't have many options in terms of who to get married to. So I may have tons of choices of people I can go on dates with. It doesn't mean those people will marry me. So it doesn't mean I have tons of options for actual marriage. Do you think that's the case?
You know what? It definitely can be. What I like to ask people is to think about, what are some of think about it as like green, yellow, red, traffic lights.
Okay.
So you're thinking about the green traffic lights. What are your must-haves? What is your lens for what's super important to you? And then think about, okay, then the rest are like, you can have a list a mile long, but then you really need to filter about 3 to 5 with your green lights. Yes. A lot can be yellow, okay, he's this level observance. He lives in this place. Okay, he's not 6 foot. There's a yellow, if he has these other features, maybe I can accommodate some other aspects of this person. And then there's obviously the red lights, the deal breakers, the absolutely non-starters. Right. So that's how I approach when I'm helping my clients identify what's important to them and who do they want to marry, because ultimately that's the goal. In most people that come to a matchmaker is who do they want to marry. I do ask them to consider their must-haves, their negotiables, and their no-way deal breakers.
Okay, Shana. So say we have a situation where, a girl or the guy, you're going on these dates and, they have the green lights. But for some reason, maybe you're not feeling the spark, or maybe you just don't have clarity and certainty. And so I want to know, do you believe that people have to come to this like aha certainty or this overwhelming feeling of I love this person in order to say yes to a person?
I mean, you definitely want to keep seeing that person until you have a clear answer, whether it's a yes or a no. As you know, I've, worked with Aliza also in the past from the show, the Netflix show, and one of her sayings, I'm not going to claim her saying, it's her saying, but she says the date him till you hate him thing, which is really meaning if it's a maybe, it's a yes for now. Keep going out with the person until you have clarity. And there's different ways to see if you have clarity. I mean, unless you have the major ick, keep going out with that person until it's clear. Like, yes, wow, he does what he says he's going to do. He shows up. I'm saying it could be she, if, it's
right.
The
consistency,
person,
yes.
Right. I know, just because, I'm speaking to a woman, so I'm saying he, but anyway, it can be either one. So basically, if that person keeps showing up, doing what they say they're going to do, building trust, that's super important in the beginning, is you don't know this person. You don't know if they're saying one thing and doing something else. So as you build trust and as feelings are growing, that's when you start to assess like, oh, okay, he's really showing up and doing what he says he's going to do. I have established some trust. Then there's obviously some factors of compatibility, lifestyle. But yeah, keep going out with the person until you really have a clear yes or no.
Okay, I really like that answer. I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier. You said dating fatigue. How does someone get out of dating fatigue? You've been dating, and, quite frankly, you're just like unmotivated. You feel like, why do I have to keep going to another networking party or go to another singles event? I'm tired of swiping on apps. I personally, even yesterday, my mom was like, just get on the app. And I downloaded JSwipe. Like after 5 swipes, I was like, apps just don't work for me. Like I can't do it, and like the fatigue really kicks in quickly. Do you have any tips and tricks on how to get out of that fatigue faster so that you can keep that positive momentum up so you can, really attract your person? Because I don't think, you're going to attract them being like all down and negative and like, he's never coming. You know what I mean? Like nothing ever comes to us whenever we have those mindsets. Right. So what's your tips on how to get out of that fatigue?
I mean, number one, just take a break. Number one, take a break. If you're not feeling it, take a break, because you're right. No one wants that energy. No one's going to be attracted to that energy. We've all seen those people on the dating apps who are just there forever, you know?
Yes. Yes.
It's and it's like, maybe they need a little break, refresh themselves. One of the things I often talk about is being the person. Listen, you have somebody in mind that you want to date. Are you the person they want to date?
So I took your matchmaking class with Eliza,
Yeah.
and I remember doing that exercise. Like, okay, this is the person I want, and this is who I am. Would that person be attracted to me? And I was like, that is so mind blowing to do that exercise. You know what I mean? And it was interesting because I don't mind sharing what my exercise showed.
Awesome.
For me, it was like, I'm, educated, working, all of these things, but I wanted this traditional model. And I was like, oh, a man who's looking for a traditional wife, is he necessarily looking for this, like, boss babe? I don't know if that's who he's looking at, you know what I mean, for the traditional model. So that's where I was kind of like, oh, that's why I attract certain kind of guys who want that, what's the other model? The model?
Partnership, yes.
Yeah, versus the traditional model, because I look like the partnership model to them. And so I really encourage people to do that exercise that you're talking about, like, does who I want me? Is that like would we match? Is that what they would be looking for?
I love your example. I'm so happy you brought that up.
Okay, so for our middle-aged lovers and daters out there, I got a lot of questions for my social medias for people who are 45 and 55. Number one question was, at what age is too old to still be looking for love? And then number two, being that age and going into the dating world, maybe you're divorced, maybe you have kids, you just have more baggage because you live more life. How do they navigate being so imperfect in their eyes, Not saying that they're imperfect because they have baggage, everyone does, but so imperfect in their eyes of how to navigate, like, well, who would want me because I have all of this history?
Let's start with the first one where you said how old is too old to, date or find love. I mean, you're never too old. I mean, like my 93-year-old grandma, she just passed away, but I mean 93, and she was saying when she knew that, a bunch of years ago when I was matchmaking, she said, well, don't set me up. I was like, all right, I'll try not to. So any age is okay if you're looking for love and that's what you want. First of all, number one, you're never too old to find love second, third, whatever time around. And so you asked about the middle age and baggage quote, like what do you do about that? Listen, it's not that people have extra baggage, so to speak, but it's more about they know what they like. They might be a little bit more fixed in certain ways, whether it's in their location.
They're set in their ways. They're not flexible.
Correct. Some people are fixed, whether it has to do with shared parental timeshare, shared custody of a child where they need to be within an hour, living of each other. Perhaps it's somebody who already has some properties. They love their home. They made their home exactly how they want it. And, there's so many different reasons why people get a little bit more fixed in their preferences as they age. And a lot of women tell me this, mostly women. They're like, listen, I don't need someone, I'm 55, I'm successful. I have a great group of girlfriends. I travel, I go out, I go to Pilates, whatever the situation is. And, they're not looking for just anyone. That's the thing. They're looking for somebody to bring an equal basket to the picnic. They're looking for somebody to share the same lifestyle. They're not going to settle because they've lived their lives, and they're not just looking for anyone.
Shana, can you break that down a little bit? Because listen, like, okay, in your opinion, of course you would never tell someone what their needs are, but what do you really think when it comes down to, just human beings, a male and a female, man and a woman, like, as a woman, because we're both women here speaking, like, what do you think, like, it would, like, those top 3 needs we would really need, or maybe you would tell people to focus on and say, listen, at the end of the day, all the other things are flexible, whether you fly to, Paris every summer, or whether you have the BMW in the driveway or whatever. These things are like flexible. Really focus on XYZ, because I think that just like we have like this fatigue of choices, I think we have like a fatigue of needs too. It's like, it almost feels like in this time, we're looking for a person to fit all of these needs, where traditionally, where I'm looking back, it seemed like you had community and they fit some of your other needs, and you didn't just get it all from a romantic partner. So what do you, sorry, I made that such a long question, but like, what do you think would be, the need, like really like needs to focus on, and other things are kind of like, in the long scheme of things, those things won't matter.
I completely hear what you're saying. For me, and what I tell people is, at the end of the day, see how you feel around this person. How do you feel? Do you feel drained? Do you feel secure? Do you feel happy? That's first and foremost. I have this picture, thank God I've been married for how many years now? 14 years. Okay.
Wow, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Thank God.
Thank God. Exactly. Thank you. And honestly, there's this picture that pops into my head, and it really translates to what I'm about to say about advice. I have a picture of my husband and I think it's from the back, and we're like holding hands, or we're walking down the chuppah, or anyway, it's the 2 of us holding hands, and we're about to be married. Okay. Yeah. And in my advice is this: pick somebody who you trust. Pick somebody who you trust 100%, because you have no idea what's going to happen even the next day. You have no idea. You don't know, once, God willing, once somebody gets pregnant, what's that going to look like? Who knows what's going to happen in the world? Who knows what's going to happen, with the weather, politics? Like, you really don't know what's going to happen. Up and down, finances, you really don't know. So pick somebody who you trust, who is going to have your back, who can like handle things if need be, and somebody who you're on the same wavelength about what's the most important things to you two. All else is like, you don't know what's going to happen. So pick somebody you trust and somebody who conflict is going to happen. That's inevitable. I'm never going to say don't have conflict. We have conflict all the time. That's fine. It's not about not having conflict. It's about, how are you going to resolve the conflict? How do you communicate? How is your teamwork? And like, do you trust this person? Like, literally with your life.
I love that answer. Speaking of conflict, we live in this age where, the buzzword is trauma and toxicity. And oh my gosh, he's so toxic. And she has unhealed trauma, or it's mostly women talking about how men have unhealed trauma. We can diagnose men with everything. He's a narcissist. He's this, he's whatever. Right. With that being said, do you think this generation needs to just kind of toughen up a little bit, and push through conflict and focus on conflict resolution? Or is there something to be said of like, this person's just not healed, and everything's so toxic, and so I'm going to break up? Like, when you hit a speed bump in the dating world, how do you know if, we should keep going and work over this speed bump, and it's really, really hard? Or, this speed bump is like, I can't be married to you forever, so I'm just out right now. Like, how do you decipher?
Yeah, I absolutely love this question. So here's what I tell people. Every single person comes with their set of issues. Are these the issues that you can deal with? Really? Are these the issues you can deal with? Because guess what? If you can deal with those issues and he could deal with your issues, amazing, because probably there's nothing like better out there. You know what I mean? Like, yes. People are people, and everybody has their issues. Me included, my husband included, every married person I know included. So Are these the set of issues you can deal with? If they are, try to work it out.
Try to work it out. I love that. I love that.
No.
My next question is, I was just thinking, darn, why did it skip my head? Oh man. Okay, it'll come back to me.
For
But
sure.
so I'll skip to this. What do you see in your clientele that men are looking for? What are men wanting from women?
Wow, that's a big one. So I would say, I mean, it really depends again on the guy himself, obviously. Is he looking for a partnership? Is he looking for, traditional values, whatnot? But I would say overwhelmingly, people want somebody, a man wants a woman that he feels attracted to. I mean, that goes without saying. And that really varies. It really varies. I have a client right now, a very sweet, nice, stable, humble, chill guy, But honestly, what does he want? He told me he just wants to meet and marry someone who he can be himself around.
Mm.
And he doesn't have a private jet. He's not, he's a pretty chill guy. But then, I do have some other clients, or I have had in the past other clients where looks are first and foremost, and they want what they want. And because they have achieved X, Y, and Z in their lifetime, this is what they feel like they deserve
Okay.
and who they should be with. So yeah.
Are you saying in a nice way the richer guys, they want the model types?
Kind of. I mean, it can be a thing. Definitely. It's not only that they want the model type, but they have a certain viewpoint of what they find, attractive or acceptable to them. And yeah, that's what they want. And I try my best to meet everybody's preferences, and I'm not out there to change people's preferences. I'm there to help make their dreams come true. But, sometimes you need a little bit of reality, testing in there.
Okay, so let's get to the physical attraction. I'll use myself again as an example. Sure. You guys, I'm just putting all my business out there for y'all. So I tend to struggle with being physically attracted to some of the guys that I date. However, they're very good men. And so what happens is I end up in this long relationship and the physical attraction is just not there. But I'm like, but this person's such a good person. You can trust them. They're providers, protectors, all your needs that you would need as a woman to feel safe and secured and provided for, they have. But it's I can't imagine necessarily kissing you, or, you start to friend zone the person. So do you believe physical attraction can grow from the standpoint of the woman? I'll say my opinion. I don't think from a standpoint of a man's view that physical attraction can grow. I think men just have to be attracted to the woman. But for women, I guess, we put less importance on it sometimes, but I don't know. I guess I'm putting a lot of importance on it lately. I like intellectual, I tend to be intellectually attracted to people, and that's how they get me in. But the physical is I can't kiss you though. So can it grow? Can you work on it? Do you just need to push yourself?
I mean, listen, I think you hit the nail on the head with saying, guys kind of need to feel like an immediate attraction vibe. I mean, I'm sure it can grow a little bit somewhat, but there is a smaller radius of that.
Yes.
But for a woman, yes, I think a woman can grow in physical attraction to a guy that is meeting her needs in so many other ways, whether it's emotional security, mental stimulation, wow, he vibes really well with my friends and family. And I mean, some things you can help the guy with. Is it his jeans are dumb and you need to go shopping with him? Or is it
he doesn't dress well? It's if you just kind of, hygiene is not the best.
Right. I mean, if it's things that are fixable and he's somebody that you would want to invest maybe a little bit of your time and effort and making him more appealing to you, I think there's wiggle room there. Obviously, if it's something that you just know you can't get past, I mean, you just can't get past it.
Yeah. How do people get out of long-term relationships that are not going anywhere, or how do they take their long-term relationship and finally get to the chuppah or get to the, the wedding?
Wow, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the matchmaking. Kind of has three parts. One are the introductions, but then there's the coaching and navigating and helping somebody through the whole process to the chuppah, to sealing the deal and making that happen. But how do you get there? It's really through gaining a lot of clarity. Is this again in your checklist? Did you find the person that meets your top needs? As you're seeing this person in different circumstances, you want to understand, are you on the same page about the big things? Are you on the same page about family? Are you on the same page about, religion, love, intimacy, goals, financial goals? I mean, things are going to pop up here and there, but if you know that you're solid on all the major things, and I think you can go for it. You can get there. You can make it to the chuppah. Nothing else is going to be certain for life, but if you have the main things and you see eye to eye, I would say go for it. And if you don't, then really, really sit down and think about it. Can we handle these life's ups and downs together? Again, people come with their different set of issues. Are these the issues that you two are going to be able to navigate and handle together?
How does a dater deal with rejection in the dating world?
Sometimes not well, but honestly, I know that you really need to think about it, as when one door closes, another one opens. If you're rejected, honestly, it's probably for the best. It usually is for the best, I mean, unless if you take note of maybe if there's a series of rejections and you're taking note of, wow, I've been rejected on account of this specific factor multiple times, then maybe you need to look at yourself in the mirror and understand where this rejection's coming from, because maybe it's something that the individual can change or do better. Or maybe again, maybe you're being rejected because you're trying to select the wrong partner for yourself. So a little bit of self-reflecting. I would say, why are you getting rejected? Why?
That's a really good question. Should daters pursue closure with the people that they are dating after they rejected them, or should you just move on and take on the next dates? Sometimes I don't know. I struggle with this one because sometimes it's kind of like, I wish I would know, like, why you don't want me, but I don't know if that's just the ego. And then the second piece is like, well, I don't really care why you don't want me. It ended and now I'm going to the next person. So I don't know. Should you be seeking some type of closure?
I mean, it depends on how many dates you've had with that person. If it was a series of dates in a length of time, yes, I would definitely want to know what went wrong. Where did it take this turn, and what's going on. If it was one date and then maybe two, and two coffee dates, I would just be like, thanks, thanks for your time, and move on. I mean, you weren't that invested. I would say it's kind of that. Also, if you're working with a matchmaker or a shadchan or somebody in your, community that help match you, that's kind of also the role of that matchmaker, to uncover the reason why. So you should probably get that feedback from the matchmaker.
When is the best time to bring someone home to your parents?
That's a good one. Definitely. I would say, you want to incubate the relationship to a certain point. You definitely want to go on a series of dates and understand, where is this heading before maybe introducing to the parents. But when you both feel like you're exclusive and it is going in this direction of growing, then I think it's okay to introduce to the family or parents. Maybe I would introduce to a couple friends first before introducing to the parents. But just, yeah, it's similar to, in the, I don't know if this is all Jewish customs, but I know amongst, me and my husband, we did not, let anybody know our baby's name until, the baby was born and out and ready to be seen. And the reason, think about it, the reason is I don't want everybody's opinion. Why like this? Why this name? Oh my God, did you think of this? No, I'm presenting you to my child and you're going to love this baby and this is its name. So I'm saying that because it's the same with when you're incubating a relationship. You don't want everybody's opinion on every single thing. You just want to know for yourself and the person you're in a relationship. Does this have legs? Is this going somewhere? Do we have something?
Shana, you opened up a box because now we got to get into some things with this one. Okay, as you know, and a lot of, parts of Jewish culture, especially like Sephardic culture, the families are very much involved. Or just if you come from, like a family where, for example, I'm one of 9. I'm very close to my siblings, very close to my parents. Men have told me in the past, like, they're very upset that I discuss our relationship with, my parents and some of my siblings, but those are the people I trust. So yeah, they're kind of going to know your business, but now I'm trying to like balance it or just say I didn't say, but how do those people who come from these type of cultures navigate really choosing the person that they want and not what their parents and their family and their community think is best, but also just trying to get their opinion because, these people also want what's best for you. But in terms of like, you hit a speed bump in your relationship, this has happened to me many times. I hit a speed bump. I ended up telling my 2 best friends and my parents what happened. And then it's like, he's terrible. He's awful. Cut him off and break up. It's over, And then the person kind of feel like, well, I kind of want to work it out, but everyone's already judged him. They've already said, he's a narcissist or whatever it is, whatever trauma they've diagnosed. And you're feeling the pressure and you're feeling a little shameful that you might want to take the person back, So how do you deal with all of that, trying to, have your close family and friends involved, but then not involved because it does sway your decisions?
Oh my God, 100%. First, have a friend that you might unload this information onto, a friend, before you tell it to your mother, sister, brother, whoever really, somebody in your family who really, really loves you. Because once you say something negative about your potential partner, that's it. They're dead. They're cut off.
It's over.
Right. It's true. I mean, I can even remember, before I was married, dating someone, I said something to my mom, probably to this day, she has scratched this name off the planet. You know what I mean? So
yes.
For sure. So I would have a friend to talk to, but listen, that's why it's important to really get to know, is this kind of the person you want to be with? And then you can start, once you feel comfortable and you want to start bringing somebody around your friends and family, I would say that you maybe do it in like limited settings, just so they get a feel for who he is. And, you definitely, people, it's not a job interview, but it is.
But it is.
But it is, right? And so you want your family to adore this person. If you adore the person, your family's going to adore the person. The minute you're upset or they're seeing you upset or there's conflict, they're going to be on your side no matter what. Right?
Yes. Right. Yes. No, I'm just thinking of like all our cultures and how it's just kind of like, it's so heavy, like being both Black and Jewish, because it's just like double, like everyone's in your business. Like for those of you who don't know, like in the Jewish world, we don't have privacy, guys. Everyone's nosy.
Everyone's nosy. Right. That's funny.
Do you think that people are better off using a matchmaker than going into the dating world by themselves and just trying to figure it out?
I would honestly say you can go in and try to figure it out. And if you feel that you are overwhelmed or having a negative experience, then maybe you do want to talk to a matchmaker, whether it's the shadchan from your community, whether it's the rabbi's wife. Not everybody has to hire a professional matchmaker, although people do. And if there's somebody in your community, and honestly, a friend can be a matchmaker. There's a lot of different ways to be a matchmaker. But so if a single needs the help of somebody, definitely get that help. Some people just get overwhelmed and tired and they don't want to sift through. I would say start by number one, have your bio. Start by making a bio. And have a good picture of yourself. If anybody out there is hearing what I'm saying, have a good picture of yourself.
And you always say it has to be updated. I think like within the same year or within a year or 2 years. What's your saying? I forgot.
6 to 12 months. I mean, unless you look exactly the same, which some people do, I would say don't have a picture over a year old. And good lighting. If you can have a professional do it, great. But if you have a friend who just knows how to take a picture, is wonderful. I'm saying this because you want a bio. You want to fall in love with your bio. You want somebody to fall in love with your bio and say, hey, this is somebody who's dateable, matchable, whether you're giving it to a shadchan, the rabbi's wife, your best friend, your mom, I don't know, I'm a professional matchmaker. You want somebody to be like, yep, this represents you. This is a digital or piece of paper. This represents the person who wants to be matched. You don't want like surprises in a bad way.
How can daters recruit their friends and family to help them find good matches?
Absolutely. I mean, definitely the first thing is yes, to have a bio, but to have somebody get to know what are your must-haves, where are you negotiable, what are your deal breakers? Like it's almost like if you're cramming for a test, you're probably going to fail. But if it's something you've really, learned over time and it's incorporated into your body, into your speech, into what you're going to say, and then your friends and family know you and know who you really are, I think they're really going to try to match you with the right person because they want you to be happy. Although sometimes there are clouds and people are like, oh, my aunt keeps trying to set me up with all these guys and this isn't my vibe at all. Maybe then you want to ask somebody else.
How can someone who doesn't have a strong network of family or friends, say in the Jewish world, you come in, maybe you're a convert, you just don't have such community ties. How can they go about building a strong network? Because a lot of times we know that matches can come through your network and who you know and who knows you and passing things around. So if you're coming from a place where like maybe, your family doesn't have the best last name or, whatever the case may be, you just don't have those strong community ties. How can that person like build their network so they can have more visibility?
Yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite questions because in my opinion, matchmaking is networking. You're always networking. You always should be representing yourself as your best self because you want to be a referable person. If you go on that date and you're not for that person and they're not for you, but then they remember, Ashira wasn't for me, but wow, she would really match my cousin, so you always want to be that referable human being. I always say matchmaking is networking. You're not going on the date to hunt the person. You're going to plant a seed that you're, like I said, a dateable human being and somebody who, could be referred. I always talk about networking. And listen, if you don't have the right network, that's something you can grow. And here's a couple tips. I mean, as you mentioned before, I have a course called, Ditch the Dating Apps and Be Your Own Matchmaker. So that's
Love it. Tell them how they can find that course really quick.
I mean, yes, it's on my website from shanaconnects.com, and you can definitely go there, and any socials, and I'll pass it to you. Absolutely. But I'm excited about this course because one of the top things I talk about in widening your network is that let's say you're somebody who loves yoga and you're like, ooh, I do yoga every day at the same studio, the same time, the same group of people. And I see the same people all the time. They all know I'm single. They all have tried to, match me with people. What I'm going to say is you don't need to now learn how to rock climb when you know you love yoga. Go to a different studio, do something adjacent. You know what I mean?
So you don't need to start something new necessarily.
Correct. You don't need to start something new, but you can do what you love to do in different areas. Go at a different time. Go to a different studio. Look for events and things that you would love to do, but maybe in a place or time or whatever that you haven't done before. It's always about widening your network. People ask me this all the time. Ooh, I went to an event and it was all women. Okay. Yeah. Don't those women have brothers, uncles, cousins, friends? I mean,
right. I like that, Shana. That's so true. Right. Tell me what you think about this. I recently thought, I'm not going to hang out at all the single Shabbat. I'm going to go to Shabbats where it's families, because those families probably know other single people. And somehow, I just thought to myself, well, if I'm with more families, then they'll probably tell their cousins or whoever about me versus just always being with my single friends at the Shabbat meal. So I don't know what you think about that, but I was thinking maybe you should surround yourself with families as well.
You're so right. I mean, people that are married want to see their single friends married, so they'll definitely give it that extra love. You're in a singles event, that's great. Everybody's single. And again, you want to be referable to other people, but definitely make married friends, have married friends, go where there's families, because they would love to help you, and they would want to also sometimes live vicariously through you because you're single and they want to help match you.
Right. Is there a formula to dating, or does it just happen? Does just one day, you just meet your person? Or can you say, you know what, Ashira, if you do X, Y, Z, you make sure you do the 5-date rule. You go on 3 dates a week. You are maybe not on all the apps, but you're going to all these events. You're gonna run into the person. Is there an actual formula that people could follow?
There is a guideline. How about that?
Oh, I like that. Okay.
I would say the guideline is like this. Matchmaking is about network and timing. Okay. Now, network and timing, you don't always have control over the timing, but you have control over the networking part, and you have control over being your best self. So if you're working on being your best self, because whoever would be attracted to you would be attracted to you as your best self. Okay.
Right.
So it's like, stay ready, because you're gonna somehow, sometime, whether it's through a friend, on an app, randomly at Trader Joe's, I don't know.
Yes.
Just be ready with your best energy, because the timing, as we say, is up to Hashem, of course. You don't know when the timing's going to happen.
I love that. Ready. So ladies, be ready at the grocery store. You don't know, get dressed every day. Okay. Make sure if you wear makeup, your makeup's on, your hair is done, because you're going out and you don't know, you might meet them that day.
Yeah. And not only with the hair and makeup, but obviously with the inner work and
sorry.
Yeah. Right. All of that.
Yes, guys, work on the inner work. Okay, so I have to ask you questions for the career women out there, the highly educated, highly paid woman who is a boss babe, and she's just having a hard time in the marketplace. One, because she wants to date someone who's equal to her status, or two, she's open to maybe dating someone who's not on her status, but she's intimidating. Or 3, she deep down in her heart really wants to get married, but she just won't make the time because she's so focused on becoming the CEO, in working in, she's a corporate baddie, as me and my sisters like to say.
Yeah.
And so she's just struggling to her peers. She wants to come off strong, fierce, and that she doesn't need a man. But when she goes home at night, she's crying on her pillow because she really wants to get married and she really wants to have children. But to the outside world, she wants to be strong and fierce. So I have to do it for my career ladies because that's like makes up most of my group of friends. And I gave those 3 different examples because those are all the 3 type of women I know.
Oh my God, completely. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of images pop into my head and a lot of things come to mind when you were speaking. One, if getting married is your top priority, then kind of make that your job,
Mm.
and I know it's like, yeah, but I need to make money. And yes, you do. But I mean, if being married is really what you want, then put it on your calendar. Make sure you book time to go on the dates, do something new every week. Every action you take, something's going to happen. So if you're one of those, corporate women and it's a scheduling issue, put it on your schedule, put it on your calendar. Right. Here's my date night. Here are my date night times. Do it.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you say about status? Like women who they get caught up in status. It's so interesting. I just had a friend, she went on a date with one guy and he really, really liked her, but there was another guy who had more status and more wealth than him. The other guy was fairly wealthy as well, but he just had more. So she dumped that one to go out with the more, but then the more wasn't consistent. And so she's kind of like in a way chasing him, where she had another guy who was kind of chasing her. And so what do you do when, women care so much about status? Like, how do you know, okay, well, it can, if it's important to you, then it's important to you, but how do you balance out, like, I'm not only going to date for status, this person also has to be good for me. Like, where do you put status at in the terms of like needs, wants, and desires? And does it matter?
Oh my God, 100%. So the thing is, if you are a woman that, has her own money, obviously has her own, pays her own bills, makes her own way in life, has her own status, I understand that nobody wants to be with somebody that's much below in terms of financial contribution to the relationship. However, it's like this. You also need to consider it almost like a puzzle piece. And like, what do you need that you don't already have? You already have money. Do you need a lot more money? Do you need that? What? I'm not saying to, marry someone.
Or even career status. Let's say the guy makes a good living, but his career status is not as fancy. Like, let's say, I don't know, I'll take me for example. What if I'm a political commentator and people get to see me on TV, and then let's say I date a teacher? I don't know. He just doesn't have equal status in the world per se.
Correct. Okay, I completely hear that. And you know what? We've all seen the Lifetime or Hallmark movie where the corporate woman goes on vacation and falls in love with like the hunky cowboy.
Yes.
Or whatever it is. I mean, and that's like, in a way, a dream come true for a lot of people. Like, oh, wow, he met all my needs emotionally and physically and spiritually. And okay, to heck with the corporate job. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've seen that. We've seen that movie. I can speak from my personal experience. I was back in the day, I was a social worker. I have, a higher degree. I have a master's of social work degree. I was working, I was making my own money, doing everything. just a little background. So, I was raised a Jewish American woman raised in the US from like a Ashkenazi background. Okay. My husband, who's my husband, when we first met, he was like a tradesperson, Mizrahi, which is Middle Eastern Jewish from Israel, like definitely, not only socioeconomic, but just like, in society, like come from very different worlds. Okay.
Yes,
We came from very different worlds.
And our status is already higher because we're American and they're foreign, those things too. Yes.
Totally. On paper, like, me being a matchmaker, if I saw these two people on paper, I don't know that I would have even introduced them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And lots of different factors. Also, to throw the extra things in there, I'm a teeny bit older and we're like the same height. Okay.
Did you want a tall guy? Was that on your list or you didn't care?
That I was more flexible about. But I definitely thought I would, at some point I thought I was going to be with somebody more culturally like me.
Yes.
And I ended up marrying somebody culturally very different than
and
me.
You went completely spicy. I mean, Israeli and Mizrahi.
You got it. So that's funny. So, and I'm speaking from, really personal experience here, but what did we match on? Our values. We both wanted a Jewish home. We both had grown up in homes like really valuing our grandparents. We both had the kind of upbringing that wasn't, not super materialistic or anything like that. But even though I had higher degrees and fancier titles, at the end of the day, this was somebody that I knew if stuff went down, like, this guy's got your back. For sure. So at the end of the day, it worked. It worked, even though we come from completely different, like, planets almost.
What do you think about families that have to blend and being a dater that has to date someone who may have been divorced and has kids?
Absolutely. That comes up all the time. I mean, again, figure out first, do the two people in the relationship like each other? Is this going to be a thing before you start introducing friends, family, children? And then as you do it gradually. I get this all the time. If I ask people, are you willing to date somebody divorced with kids? All the time, the answer is, well, if they have an amicable divorce, if they have an amicable parental timeshare situation, sure. People who are open to dating somebody divorced with kids, they definitely want to make sure that that parent is a good parent, that there's not drama in other ways, that, things are in order for them to then blend the family or have a new relationship. So that happens all the time. It happens all the time. And blended families can be beautiful. I know my parents were divorced. My mom was remarried. Like it can be a beautiful thing if done, the right way.
What are the top 3 mistakes that you see daters making in the market?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the first thing, and this is, I know we touched on this, but just having a list without considering what do they bring to the table. That's the first mistake. Seriously, you need to know who you are. What are your values? What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the world? What do you bring to a relationship? Why are you a marketable person to be in a relationship? So I would start there. Oh, another one. We didn't really touch on this, so this might be exciting. Another one is people. I'm going to say women, but definitely it's both genders. People want to think, wow, I haven't reached my fitness goal. I don't look exactly the way I want to look. I say, do it in tandem. You can be on a search for love, while bettering yourself. You don't have to reach, you don't have to reach like a marker before you're allowed to be loved or love someone, you
I
know?
love that you said that. So many people say the fitness thing or the career. I haven't got where I
Yes.
wanted in my career, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because, I'm going to shed 10 pounds. And once I shed 10 pounds, yeah, listen, if you're fit, you are more attractive. You know what I mean? Like as you get fitter, you look better, you feel better. But it's like, you're going to wait all your life just to get, you know what I mean? Till you get fit in order to like find someone. And so I'm so happy you touched on that. But we have all of these reasons why we're going to wait. I need to heal, so I'm going to wait. But it's like, aren't we always going to be on a healing journey of some kind? What do you think about people who have been single for such a long time? Does it affect their ability to pair bond? Like actually, bond with the person because they're so used to being alone?
I mean, definitely people are more cautious. I think they're less likely to go with the flow about everything,
Yeah.
So in that kind of situation, I mean, we've all seen, I don't know about you, but like I'm obsessed with, pop dating TV reality shows because they're fun. So why do these pairs bond so quickly? Because they're doing new things together. So
Oh,
yes,
I like that. I like that. So in order to create a bond quickly, do new things together.
do new
I
things
love
together.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, let's get into that. What type of dates should people be having then? So should we stop doing like these traditional dinner dates and be like, hey, I've never done, I don't know, skydiving unless someone's that adventurous. I've never done skydiving. You never did. Let's do it together. I mean, that's kind of extreme. Everyone's not going to
Yeah.
skydive,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? I've skydived before, but
Wow.
yeah.
Definitely. I mean, of course, the first date can be just the coffee, get to know you, happy hour. The first date can be that. But once you've already gotten over the check marks of, oh, it's the same person in the picture. Yes, they can carry a conversation. They are who they say they are. I mean, once you get through some of those first date check marks and there's still curiosity to get to know the other person, absolutely. Try something new, do something new, whether it's, the cooking class or the comedy show or, even just going to a new place together. Oh, wow. I heard that there's this cool new restaurant. Neither one of us has ever been there. Let's go. So whatever's new
Yes.
for the two of you, try it.
What other creative date ideas have you seen people go on other than the traditional ones?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on where you live, of course, but I would say if you live in a place where where you have a lot of access to culture and arts and vibrant things like that, you can easily, this is such a funny hack, but I'll tell you what I do when I'm helping people set up dates. I'll even go to TikTok and I'll type in like 10 best cool dates for the Upper East Side or whatever. And then because TikTok turned into a search engine, and then so many videos pop up. You can do it on any search engine you choose, but and then you get ideas and cool ideas pop up. I've seen like new art installations. I've seen very cool, even like picturesque places that people will go for a walk and then just to take pictures and to do something like cute and vibey
Yeah, I
together.
like
But I would say,
that.
yeah, like you use those search engines and see what other people are doing, and you can come up with a lot of good ideas. But also, I like it when people, some of the fun things that people do, like I sent this couple on a date in New York. It was a coffee shop, but it was like a coffee shop connected to, it was inside of like a green room, like that's not the right word, a greenhouse. Green room. Sorry.
It's because when I'm in the studio and stuff, you're just thinking green room.
Totally. It was inside like a full-on, like there was plants, exotic plants, and like a beautiful nursery and greenhouse. So, mix a couple things together where there's like a background thing, not only for what you're sitting and doing, but there's also something in the background, whether it's, playing darts or like a background game or a trivia game, something where you can talk, but then also have like a side thing going on. That seems to get people talking more.
Should men be paying for dates?
Short answer, yes. But I mean, that's the short answer. But should men be paying for every single date forever? I mean, let's start with the guy paying for the dates and then see how the relationship, evolves. But I'm just gonna say yes.
Okay, I like it short and sweet, and I agree. I was talking with a friend, and he was arguing with me saying, men have to show value right away. So they have to show up and show that they can protect and provide right away. And one of the ways they have to do that is paying for the dates. But women don't necessarily have to show what they bring to the table right away. And so we were having this discourse, and I said, well, listen, I would be okay if a man took me on a date as a picnic. It doesn't mean that you necessarily need to spend money. I also said in Jerusalem, what you'll see a lot, where I live, are people on dates at Gone Soccer in the park. Like they dress up and they walk around the park and they talk and they sit on a bench, and that's the date. And so I was like, listen, I don't think we should, take away that feeling of having a man pay for a date. He could just choose to do something free if, money's an issue.
Absolutely. A first date does not need to break the bank. It's literally to make sure that that is a human being that you would want to talk to again.
Yes. It could just be coffee. It doesn't need to be like, $100 dinner or something like this.
Absolutely not. No, for sure. And just see if this is someone you would want to see again.
Yes.
Really.
Okay. So what are maybe, 2 to 3 motivational statements you have for the daters out there?
Oh my God.
Words
absolutely.
of encouragement, including me. We all need help.
Yeah, definitely. Dating is networking, meaning anywhere you go, it's consider yourself, how you present yourself in the world. Always present yourself as a referable, matchable person who brings something to the table and adds value to someone's life, whether it's not the person you went on a date with, but, be a little memorable as a good person. Be a mensch.
Be a mensch.
Yeah.
What does a mensch mean for our non-Jewish followers?
Right. A mensch, in short, is like a good guy,
Yes.
somebody that would open a door, somebody that would, make sure the little old lady gets across the road, be chivalrous and humble and friendly.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, there's one more thing before I let you go. During the exercise that we did with Be Your Own Matchmaker, you guys had us defined the adjectives. So if you could talk about that, like not just writing down, oh, I want someone generous, I want someone kind, saying, well, what does that look like to you? Can you talk about that piece? Because I thought that exercise was amazing, because I was like, oh, when I say generous, I mean, like if someone's taking care of their parents, or someone who's like, I don't know, he just has a responsibility for family members, or he always brings food when he shows up. He brings a gift every time he comes and sees a family member, he sees me. To me, that's like, oh, you're generous. It didn't just mean like, oh, you just give me money, So I really liked that exercise. If you could talk about that, Inland.
Yes, always define and clarify these basic words. If somebody says, oh, I want to meet somebody funny. Okay, what makes me laugh might be different than what makes you laugh. So what's funny? Are you cracking up at Adam Sandler movies? Are you laughing at someone slipping on a banana peel? You know what I mean? Like, what's funny? And then when it comes to other big words, such as, like you said, generous or philanthropic, think about what that means to you. Like, would you respect somebody and be attracted to somebody because they're donating their time or money to a certain cause? Does that make you happy? Would you feel good about that person? Yeah, absolutely. The more clarifying you can get with these generic words, it's going to lead you more to your ideal match, because you're putting those feelers out there, and you're being really clear on your intention with, like, who do you want to attract?
Yes. Also, it helped me come up with my sentence of when I used to write, oh, I want someone intellectual. You're like, what does that mean? And so my sentence, I would tell people, like, when I would send out my resume to them and say, I'm looking for someone who can articulate and debate ideas. And that was my definition of intellectual instead of saying intellectual. Yeah. So you guys, that exercise really works. I really encourage you guys to really, like, define what those big adjectives mean to you, because it just really helps with the clarity.
That's so true. And kind of going back to one moment when you talked about, the different socio levels or whatnot, if you say you want somebody who can debate and articulate their point of view, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're looking for somebody that graduated from an Ivy League school.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It could be different values, and as long as they have the type of intelligence that you value and respect, great.
I'm glad you said that, because when a past person that I dated, he actually was a high school dropout, but he was incredibly intelligent and could debate and articulate ideas like no one had ever seen before. So it had nothing to do with, graduating from Oxford or MIT or anything like that. Shana, please tell all of my followers, like, where they can find you, how they can work with you, and what the benefit is to working with a matchmaker.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. So I'm Shana Tibi. You can find me by my name on any socials, definitely. You could find me on my website, shanaconnects.com. My business name is Curated Connections. And the benefit of working with a matchmaker is multi-level. Number one, if you're ready to hire a matchmaker, fantastic. But even if you're not, the major benefit is get on my radar. Join my free and private database. That is complimentary and private, because I collaborate with all of the top matchmakers across the globe. And if they have a client that they're trying to match and you're in my database, you're on my team, I'll look to my database first and I'll be like, oh,
I'm
my God,
in there.
Yeah, I love it. You are. I'm on the lookout. So definitely, that's the first place I look, is to my database. And then, of course, if you're ready and you feel like it's your time and you're on level 10 and you really want to, make it your year, I'd love to speak to people who might be ready to hire a matchmaker. And then, of course, there's the middle ground too of a group coaching course that's called Be Your Own Matchmaker. So there's kind of levels for everybody, depending on how much they want to invest time and energy and things like that.
And can you talk to about, you mentioned earlier getting off dating apps? You have a course that's coming out. What was it called?
Yeah, I do. I have this brand new group coaching course, and it's called Ditch the Dating Apps and Be Your Own Matchmaker. Yeah, so it's similar to how we engaged with each other, a few tweaks, a few modifications, but essentially it's like under the cover of what a matchmaker does for VIP kind of clients, and I'm helping people. It's a little bit of mindset, a lot of to do, in Hebrew we say tachlis. It's a lot of like to do steps, and it's really helping people navigate their own matchmaking process without actually hiring a matchmaker.
Thank you so much, Shana, for coming on my show and sharing all your tips and wisdom about dating and just helping us daters out there, because we need it. It was such a pleasure to have you.
My absolute honor and privilege and pleasure. Thank you so much, Ashira.
Well, that is a wrap on today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment below. Let me know what are the dating misconceptions that you have? What are the speed bumps that you're having? What's going well for you, if anything is going well for you? And I want to know, do you have hope to find your person? Like, comment, and share this video. I'll see you next week.